Famed, of course, for my unique red skin and unparalleled skills as a general of the House of War, I, the Red Prince, was raised within the vast palaces of the fabled Forbidden City. I was destined to become the next emperor. But my ambitions suffered a bit of a setback when I fell from grace for cavorting with demons. Now, I'm exiled and hunted by assassins. But I assure you, I remain undaunted and as determined as ever to claim my rightful throne.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now, no need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
What a way to wake. Wooden boards and iron shackles. The Divine Order's hospitality leaves much to be desired indeed. Under lock and key. Ah, well, that explains the smell.
Did you expect a needle? Did you expect a needle?
The indignity. I'm supposed to send people down to the dungeons, not the other way round. The indignity. I'm supposed to send people down to the dungeons, not the other way round. Locked.
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Junk. Boring. I'll need to get clever with this lock.
The Magister Guard snorts and sniffles as he sleeps. You're almost impressed that one man can make such a phlegmy racket.
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy red scale? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. Damn. If it's not one thing, it's another. And no way I can trust those fools to deal with any nonsense on their own. Can't leave the prisoner alone, though. He's been nothing but trouble, I hear. If it's all the same, I think it's best he comes with me. Some offence intended. You hear that, Emoire? We're taking a walk. And keep your hands where I can see them. Hurry it up, sorcerer. We haven't got all day.
Dead Magister.
So much
Somebody
for
will
a
have to take
peaceful
the blame
stroll.
for this, and it won't be me.
Boring. Under lock and key.
Empty.
What a mess I've made. Someone will be along to clean up, I'm sure.
Locked.
Junk. Boring.
What a well of knowledge
Empty.
this tome is. Dallas is such a dear. Why, you're looking a bit more... There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to sauce. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those sauce spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast sauce. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours.
She frowns and peers at you closely, resting the back of one hand on your forehead and taking your pulse with the other.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of. I recommend a cup of mulled wine and another night's sleep. Just take it easy. Is he? Oh well. Some problems simply sort themselves.
Lords, there's been a murder here.
It
Behind
seems
the
as though
Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. It's a small ship. His name was Finn. Oddball. Looked to me like he saw something he wished he hadn't before he came here. We'll find out who did it, one way or another. Nothing to see here.
No known associates. In fact,
A young Magister stands pale and silent.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this.
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Finn was killed by Source. If a Magister could do that, there wouldn't be a Magister. It looks more like a passenger managed to slip their collar. And the rest, well, you see the evidence in front of you. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? A lizard of principle. I get it. Wonder how you'll feel when whoever did this does it again. You let me know if you hear anything. Yes, this is a rare kind of magic. I'll need to write to headquarters right away. So, anything interesting for me? Right, ticked. No marks, no indications of a struggle.
that knuckle if
Do you know Losa? She's a really good singer. I'm better though. Listen. La 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 la.
Wow! You're a dragon. You look like a dragon. But where are your wings?
Surely.
You're really red. I bet that's why the Magisters took you. They took me because I'm magic.
Ah, there you are. Husband. Would you? How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You presume right. Nope. Trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though...
Good luck, Chief.
They're picking us off one by one. Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
The Magisters are out for blood. You saw the body, didn't you? Big bruiser like you ought to be able to take 'em on.
Be good, you scallywags.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
He turns his head toward you, looking you up and down, and smiles before turning his attention to the ship once more.
You look like a boy to me. Listen if you're interested, or get gone if you aren't. The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mest. Your kind always...
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums. But there's more. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back. The other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news. No, you beautiful idiot. That wasn't any rat. It was the wheel. Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of the ship.
No indeed, boy. But that...
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions...
That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mest.
If you'll be pardoning me, I'll...
Your kind always hung closest to our divine.
My prince.
The cook bows slightly and wipes her hands on her gruel-stained garb.
Forgive me, Your Highness. I didn't expect... well, anyway, whether I had more than cornmeal and rotting roots to serve, I'd concoct something more fitting for one of your stature.
She nods and smiles wanly before returning to...
Would you put a knuckle in it?
I'm afraid our customs mean less than nothing as...
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
Boring.
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out, flicks a finger against...
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
It is simultaneously too detailed. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Most unusual. And if it's not too rude to suggest, not much of an answer. No, I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Now please, run along. I have a world to discuss.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book.
Mad? No.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with you faring okay so far.
He tugs the collar of his uniform.
Sorry you're upset, sir, but we all wear what we wear for a reason. You head on in now.
I forgot how to think. I did.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right. I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on...
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp Ifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again.
Seems to me you should be a little more afraid.
He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword, and now he's Johnny Big Pants.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and
No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the ringmaster himself.
Ask what you must. I've nothing to hide.
Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
Till overboiling a bit of cabbage becomes a crime, I shall hold my head steady.
What are you conspiring about over there? You, lizard, What's your name?
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name?
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us.
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook.
I'll find out. I always...
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he...
Skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up.
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Oh.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers. As everyone lay sleeping, your hunger gnawed and gnawed at you until you could stand it no longer. Finding the cellar door ajar, instead of trying to escape, you snuck into the pantry like a common thief, only to find nothing but rather questionable turnips. There you stood as a magister walked in, still hungry, feeling a mighty fool.
She pats you on the shoulder consolingly.
There, no need to be a sourpuss. You don't have to worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us.
We just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up.
You think me mad?
Mad? No.
Keep
Insufferable?
those bubbles trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
You seem on edge, officer. What on earth is the matter?
Junk.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened?
The young woman lies in a heap on the floor. She's breathing normally, but her eyes are wide open, like those of a corpse. Dark, she doesn't stir. The dwarf lies in a heap on the floor, his great beard twisted and tangled around him. He is stock still. You can't see if he's living or dead. You hear a faint thud, thud, thud. The dwarf lies in a heap on... The dwarf lies in a heap on... Ifan lies motionless, curled on the ground like an animal. Under his shaggy hair, you can see green eyes fluttering as if his eyes flicker open. But...
Lucian.
Ifan cries out, then his eyes fall closed again. The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound. The Magister lies on the floor.
The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way.
Damn! That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards! God damn it! Need to get off this wreck and quick! Not long before this thing snaps into splinters. What in blazes? Something's pounding on the hull.
You pass through the door, and are suddenly face to face with a skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia.
No, no, no. What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet.
The skeleton looks up and...
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book.
I know your god did not gift you with much, but kindly use the little you were given. Do you look at me and think, why yes, there is someone with organs enough to drown? Trifling matters like water and poison do not concern me. No, damp robes are the most I have to fear. Once this glorified skiff hits the seafloor, I will simply walk to shore. Whereas you, I believe, have lifeboats to pointlessly squabble over. I believe you did, although I was wearing the face of an elf at the time. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed, just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book.
Please, my time is short.
The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You press your palm against the door to open it. The wood feels neither cold nor warm, but simply grey. The crimson drains from your hand, and you are left numb. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Death fog? I need to get out of here, now! there and dig it up. Shut your trap, kid. Children and...
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you. There's a
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear? If you can walk, get yourself up.
I thought Voidwoken was supposed to be scary.
Beardless bugs won't sink the ship on my watch.
I've faced worse. They smell even worse dead than alive. Let's head above decks for some air.
Please, my time is short.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Orivan.
Well, that was a bit of a rough and tumble journey. I suppose I'm the lone survivor. Which is entirely appropriate, if you ask me.
Brachus Rex. King, sorcerer, and scholar, though not quite a gentleman.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to lizards. Really? Like, what kind of stories? A dragon that marries an elf? That's how can I hear it anyway?
You warmly tell the tale of the dragon, but despite your best efforts, you notice that your knowledge of legends and monsters is somehow upsetting the child.
Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave the island. It's nicer out here than inside anyway. But you didn't die. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see. Guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary. You can stay out here with me if you want. You don't seem that scary.
There were statues in my likeness round the ancient empire too. Perhaps some stand there still. Voidwoken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn! They made it to the shore. I thought these bloody collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. This pig's bladder was on the ship.
The squirrel looks at you in shock. Are you sure you want to chase him away? The squirrel turns his nose up at you and turns away. But his cat seems more than happy to tag along, dragging its owner with it. A black cat. A herald of wisdom in my homeland. How fortuitous. The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but it stares at you with acute intensity. Its eyes clear, and it shakes its head, confused. The cat's eyes are clouded. It appears confused.
Hey, mister. It's a lot nicer here than that stinking boat, huh? I'm sure glad you went back to save the others. Saw one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore a few hours ago. Say hi for me. I never want to set foot on a stuffy old boat ever again. Never.
What's this? I found something. I wonder where this leads.
As the alcove opens up, you see the same skeleton that you met on the boat before it sank. He's still not wearing his mask. He's leaning over a corpse, prodding and pulling at the skin of its face.
Bugger. How on earth am I supposed to... Oh. Perhaps...
Skeletal fingers reach down and grip the skin of the dead man's face, pulling sharply upwards. After a few more tugs at the man's cheeks, the skeleton relents, letting the head drop to the ground with a damp thud.
Damnation. That stuck fast. I wonder, does the beard act as some form of anchor? Ah! No! Stay back! Don't... Oh, it's you. I must admit I'm surprised. Perhaps you're more buoyant than I suspected. It seems the human that stole my mask was rather more resourceful than I gave her credit for. I chased her here, but she rather seems to have given me the slip. Thus...
He turns back to the body, prodding at its face cautiously.
Why, its face, of course. What other use would I have for some rotting corpse? A face that seems rather stubbornly attached to his skull. I would normally employ a tool to delicately but viciously rip the face from the body. I could then craft a mask to hide my bone. But as I lack such a tool...
The skeleton grabs the corpse by the cheeks and pulls hard, grunting in frustration as the body's skin holds firm.
Carved? Please. You hardly think I am one of your breed, do you? You have never seen anything like it because you have never met anyone like me. Simply put, I am an Eternal, and you are not. You have my sympathies. Indeed, no one seems to have the good taste to be. My people are rather absent, at least from this realm. As for the others, well, there is an excavation site at the Black Pit's oil fields. Perhaps there I'll find my answers. Well, that hardly seems relevant. But if you must know, several centuries, in fact, or perhaps millennia, one tends to lose track. I was sealed in a tomb for daring to be curious about the world. It seems our king did not agree that the universe should be explored to its full potential. Perhaps I should thank him. It seems I was spared whatever happened to the others. I wonder if flowers would be appropriate. A cult? Hardly. I could ask you to imagine an Eternal as a creature of incredible intelligence and skill. We studied the mysteries of the universe, but I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. We will have our world again. Ah, well, that is the curious thing. They are clearly absent from this world, and yet they are everywhere. Every one of your races resembles them in some manner, and the statues you have built to your gods look remarkably familiar. Perhaps my people have ascended to some new realm, or perhaps your gods are merely a folk memory. Regardless, they are not here, but I will find them. I suppose, circumstances being what they are, it could be advantageous. You seem more at ease in this world than I. A guide would certainly be useful. Excellent. While we are conversing, perhaps you notice that I am rather skilled in, well, all things. Of course, the arcane arts are my little speciality, But being a brilliant wizard does not mean I cannot handle blade or bow. So, which do you require for this enterprise of yours? I could do that with one hand behind my spine. Now, shall we get on? There is rather a lot to see. Splendid. Very well. Let's be off.
You hear a small whimpering sound from behind a basket. You peer behind it and find a small human child holding her knees and trembling. The child quiets and seems comforted by your presence. She looks up at you with curious eyes. A wide grin cracks across the child's face through her tears, showing two big gaps where her front teeth should be. She laughs.
Really? Yeah. Warrior Princess Coral. You're nice. You can have this. I found it outside, but I can't read it yet. That's next year, and then I'll learn it.
The child wipes her eyes and, grinning, plunks herself down on the earthen ground. She starts tracing shapes, hearts, stars, and diamonds into the dirt.
Everything has a heart, except lizards, maybe. Maybe they do. I don't know. The waterfall has a heart made of a giant diamond, see?
Go! Get out! You are not welcome here! Go, man-pig!
She eyes you suspiciously.
Please. Please, just go. You hear me, human. You hear me, human.
happening to these turtles? They're transforming. What's this? I found something. I need to dig here.
One must put in due effort if one is to reap the proper reward.
fasten tight.
Where is she? You go with us. Who are you? Are you from the shelter? She says nothing of another. Fire, alas! She is so late! Never mind. It is not your...
She leans forward. Her eyes are wet with fear as she takes your hand.
Please, do not lead anyone here. Psst. Fear, alas!
Anis, no, I'll protect you.
No, Coral. Go!
But Anis, I can.
Quiet, child. Run. Now!
Focus! Healing! to these turtles. They're transforming. They're transforming. Swallowed too much seawater, by the looks of him.
Foolish to attempt an escape by sea in these waters.
This again? One must put in due effort if one is to reap the proper reward.
Where is she? You go with us. Who are you? Are you from the shelter? She says nothing of another. Fire, alas! She is so late! A Magister offers to help us flee. Atusa. She says there are many Magisters who do not agree with the Bishop. She says they bring us to safety. But Atusa is overdue. She promises to come at noon. We are afraid to stay, afraid to leave. She says there is a shelter in the marshes outside the fort. She says she brings us there first. She knows a safe path. We wait for a boat, and then we go. Wherever we make a new home. Atusa is different. She does not believe in this place, in their bishop. She will come, and she will take us away from here.
Everything has a heart, except lizards, maybe.
Just stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use. Cut it out.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come!
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Stay silent, lizard!
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, Dallas.
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
This.
The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
These creatures are so prone to violence. Naturally, the weaker specimens suffer.